Hello, everyone. Welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. My name is Jonathan. I am here with just Alex this time. Alex, how are you doing?
I am doing good. It feels weird just you and me, but
It's a little,
it's
it's a little weird. We haven't had a just you and me podcast. There's been just you and Jerome podcasts. There's been me, you, and Kyle podcast. Our guest host Kyle a couple episodes, many episodes back. But it's just you and me this time.
oh,
Jerome
you,
is
Jerome, and Jasmine.
Oh yeah, me, Jerome, and Jasmine. That's right. I think those are all the configurations.
Yeah. Well, now we have a new one. It's the Alex and Jonathan show.
It's the Alex and Jonathan show. We should change the handle on Instagram just for this week. But Jerome, he's working right now, so he is unable to join us. But he'll be back in the next episode. That is for certain. But today we are going to be talking about Jungle Cruise, the movie. It just dropped on Disney Plus and in theaters. And if you haven't heard of it, one, you're living under a rock because the commercials are everywhere and the advertisements. And two, the storyline is based on Disneyland's theme park ride, where a small riverboat takes a group of travelers through a jungle filled with dangerous animals and reptiles, but with a supernatural element. Sounds like, yeah, sounds like something that is up our alley, kind of.
I don't know about the supernatural part. I know Jerome doesn't like them, and you are
It,
cautious towards them.
they're just not supernatural things. I don't gravitate towards them, but I'm not opposed to them.
All right, that's fair enough. As I have shown my room decorated and as me being me, I am very drawn towards that. So. Who's in this movie, Jonathan?
Okay, so in this movie, we got a lineup. We have Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Emily Blunt, Edgar Ramirez. We have Jack Whitehall, Jesse
Jack Whitehall.
Plemons. Yeah, Jack Whitehall, he's awesome. Jesse Plemons, Paul Giamatti, and many, many other people. I was surprised to see Jesse Plemons and Paul Giamatti. I did not know they were in this movie.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see I knew Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt and Jack Whitehall were going to be in this film, and I really love all three of them. I especially like Jack Whitehall. He's really funny. He's a really funny comedian. I randomly found him on Netflix one day. Netflix, it's a good and evil. And like I saw his stand-up show, and I was like, oh, this dude's just way more funny than I anticipated. I ended up falling in love with a lot of this stuff. But yeah, no, just the lineup was actually a little surprising. Well, it's Disney. So I expected there to be like a high lineup, but I didn't expect the people that were in here to be in here.
Right. Jesse Plemons is in everything right now. Every single thing.
He was just in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah. He was supposed to be, I think we talked about this offline, but he was supposed to be in the new Jordan Peele movie that's coming out next year. But he had to drop out because he's doing another movie.
Nope.
Yeah, but instead we get Steven Yeun.
Oh.
And he's awesome. But he's not in this. So let's talk about this. Well, Jesse Plemons is. Steven Yeun is not.
I would have been happy if Steven Yeun was there.
Yeah, he would have been good in this too.
He's honestly the reason I got CBS Plus
or All Access.
All Access just to see him.
Now Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah, just to see him in the new Twilight thing. Wasn't like Twilight Zone. I was a little iffy on the reboot. Some of them were good, but like I mainly went to see for him.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of that, and it was kind of boring to me. But maybe I have to make it to a couple more episodes. No, it's pretty boring throughout.
They did their best, and you can tell. But
okay.
2020 has hit, and 2020 is what 2020 is. Yes.
True.
Anyway, so
so how our reviews work if you're new to this podcast network channel. We basically interchangeable. We basically start by saying what we liked about the movie, what we didn't like in a non-spoiler format. So we won't give away key elements and plot points of the movie. And then we'll warn you all if you haven't seen the movie or if you don't want to know spoilers, we'll let you know, hey, spoiler alert, and then proceed with caution, and then we'll dive into the nitty-gritty of the film. So I want to hear your thoughts, Alex. What did you think of Jungle Cruise?
I enjoyed it for the most part. There's some parts I was not a fan of, but that was more on like a historical side that I thought of. Like with the Spaniards and things like that. But I really loved the setting of Jungle Cruise because it surprisingly didn't look fake and plasticky. I was kind of anticipating that for a lot of like the jungle area to kind of just lay like, oh yeah, you can see the studio kind of behind it. Like somebody moved the leaves a little too much, but it actually kind of looked natural. And so I was taken back by that and it looked really beautiful.
It did. I wonder where they filmed this at, like what country. Let me look to see if pre-production
What country were
filming.
they supposed to be in?
I
Now that
am
I
not sure, but it says
yeah.
principal photography took place in Hawaii and Atlanta. So they were in the jungles of Hawaii, apparently. Well, in real life. I'm
Why?
not sure in the movie
Well,
where they were supposed to.
yeah.
Oh,
They were
South America. They were supposed to be in South America
oh
in the
okay.
movie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
With the Spaniard chasing him in that time. Yeah, that makes sense. Um so yeah, no, the
So
setting was
overall, you liked
gorgeous.
it.
I overall liked it. I liked the characters individually more so than together because they kind of felt like a reused plot a lot of time. You know, the three one's a bumbling kind of fool, which is Jack Whitehall's character, but he was also really like I'm trying not to give things away, and it's really hard when I just want to be like, oh yeah, he did this, and that what's made his character really like good and great and all this stuff. But it was just also just I think it's just a fun film to watch. It's
Yeah.
really nice looking, and when you get down to it, it's a Disney film, so it was very like chill, and there's random running around and excitement, and magical flowers and trees for some reason. Disney really likes magical trees and flowers.
They do. They
What
love
about
a
you?
good magical. For me, I like you. I thought it was fun. The some of the like uh let's say this. I liked the cast and the scenery and the action of it probably more than I did the actual plot of it. Just because at the very beginning they like set the stage and they throw a lot at you, and they set the story up within like the first 2 minutes, and I'm like, oh, okay, I wasn't really paying too well attention at the beginning, so I guess I'm kind of going to be lost for a good portion of this movie. But but once you actually get into it, it's like, okay, yeah, this is fun. Let's go on this adventure. Let's go on this journey. Admittedly, I just came off of a journey being on a plane this morning, so I had to get up at 3:30 a.m. and watched this movie today at about 5 p.m. So I'm watching this movie with tired eyes. Um, but the action of it all kept me engaged. And you
So
can't go wrong.
you can kind of speak to like a parent's point of view when watching a Disney film. Parents are usually tired and they're watching it with
That
their so you have like the
that's true.
parent view.
That's true. Exactly. Um, the it's like we said earlier, star-studded cast. Um, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. He's always going to be fun in every single thing he does. I don't care if he plays The Rock in every single movie that he's in. He's always going to bring a good time. And the fact that it's based off of the Jungle Cruise ride that I have ridden plenty of times at Disneyland, and I was able to laugh at some of the references that they made in the movie to the ride. I found that really enjoyable as like an ode to like the ride and the people who've ridden it and stuff. So, all right, are we ready for
I've
spoiler
never ridden it.
territory?
Yeah, let's go to spoiler territory.
Okay, spoiler alert. In case you do not want to know spoilers about Jungle Cruise. But why not? I mean, it's a fun movie. You might as well, even if you haven't seen the movie, you can go back and still watch it. So speaking of like the references to the ride, I laughed out loud when what was the Rock's character's name? Frank.
Frank Wolf.
Yes, Frank Wolf. When he said, what did he say? This is the extravagant, or this is the extraordinary sight to see, the backside of water, and then they go into that like little waterfall.
Yeah.
And that is like that brought me back because on the Jungle Cruise ride, there's a portion where you just like go underneath a waterfall, and that's like one of the highlights of the ride. And it's like, this is the highlight of the ride, going underneath this waterfall, the backside of water.
Is it
so that
like
was
a slow ride, like Wonderful World, or
it's a very slow ride. It's a ride that you go on when you've gone on all the fast stuff and you just want to like take it easy. There's a little bit of like towards the end, there's a little bit of like action and stuff like that, but you're going very slow. You're on a boat, you're going through like the jungle, you're looking at all the stuff. There's a tour guide, and apparently I looked on IMDb and it said that the Rock's many of Frank's lines are taken directly from the attraction, and from the like, they call them these so bad they're good jokes are one of the reasons why Jungle Cruise skippers are so important for the ride experience. Skippers is what they call them. So yeah, I enjoyed all the references to the ride, and I think they did it justice.
I've never been on the ride, so I have no clue. And I always think it's a little weird that Disney bases like movies off of rides, like they did with Pirates of the Caribbean. That became so successful. It's like you always think the ride would come after, but now Disney will pull a story from anywhere they find fit. I wasn't too much of a fan of the Lily character, of Emily Blunt's character, because she had kind of a, what would you call it? Self-inflated like self-worth.
Like I can do no wrong.
Yeah, like she was judging like Frank when, again, spoilers, when she found out that he was part of the Spaniards who came to get the flower first, and she like judged him for that. I was like, dude, you're here too. You're trying to steal that plant from the natives, and after he revealed, he's still helping you, and you're still trying. And then there's that whole self-sacrificing at the end where she's like, oh, I'm not going to do the British Museum anymore, which they're big thieves of, any type of culture, all cultures. So she had the self-inflated ego, that's the words, that I was not fond of. Frank Wolf's character, I felt sometimes he had more like comedy relief than Jack Whitehall's character, what was his name?
His name was
McGregor
Houghton.
Why did they do that to him? He didn't do anything. But his character, he definitely was like this, comedy relief character. But sometimes it was just his like one-liners, the Frank Wolf's character, where he was trying to be like the big guy, and it's just like, oh, dude, no.
And they alluded to him being, I know a lot of people have this problem with Disney movies in that when they make like a character who's a member of the LGBTQ plus community, they don't explicitly make them gay or whatever. They'll just like imply it a little bit. I think that's what they did with this as well, when he was talking about like I wasn't able to
that
love.
way though. No, they did announce it that they're like, oh, Jack Whitehall's character in Disney's, Jungle Cruise will be the first gay Disney. But they do
Right,
that a
right,
lot.
but like in the movie they won't explicitly like
Oh,
mention it.
okay.
Yeah, they'll like allude to it, I guess.
That I know, but like they'll announce it and be like, this is like Disney's first like gay character, but then I feel like they do it every single time. This is the
So there's
first
been a
one.
lot of firsts.
There's been a lot of like first ones. Yeah, like and it's just why though? Like just have him gay or not. And I get what like people mean about like it being like allude, like, oh yeah, it's just a subtle, oh, it didn't work out with me, and then they give like maybe a vague like male name that could possibly also be a female, gender neutral, which is just stupid. Just say it. Everybody's tired. Nobody cares.
Right.
And the people who usually are, care now. I mean, they're throwing out like so many like I can't think of words anymore. Apparently. Anyway, the point
it's
is
contagious for me. My tiredness is contagious.
it's you. It's all your energy. I'm suddenly feeling like I'm off point. But anyway, but I enjoyed the film just as like a film in general. It was a cute film. It was, again, location was just gorgeous.
It was.
And it was one of those fun classic stories, too, of like Disney tales of where you go on an adventure, you find love, you find happiness, and you get
That
to
like folklore and everything.
you get to experience that like there's some mystic plants in the world. I like that idea. I do like that idea. There's a magical plant off somewhere that can just heal people.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's just so many different. After working in a doctor's office, I know that's not possible because of certain elements. There's not one specific plant that can do all, but the idea is nice, and I get it.
Right. What did you think of that kind of twist in the middle where I keep just wanting to say The Rock, but his name is Frank in the movie, where Frank dies, but he doesn't actually die because he's
Doesn't he get turned into stone?
Well, at the end, but the part I'm talking about is where he falls
Oh yeah,
off the cliff. And like, first of all, I have to say I laughed at that part because when he was falling, it was like awkwardly lingering on him. It was uncomfortably long. Like they showed him like landing on some of the trees and just continuing to fall. And it reminded me, and I was thinking like, oh, he's dead. It reminded me of when you and me watched The Secret Life of Pets at IMAX, where we used to work.
Oh my god. That was
Snake. You explain the story. I don't think we've told the story on the podcast.
That was like my favorite time because so they were in the sewers, Secret Life of Pets, and there's a snake, and he's threatening.
He was like the henchman.
Yeah, he was threatening to go after like the dogs, and I don't know how, like the building or the sewer starts to collapse. Suddenly, this big like bunch of bricks falls on him, and I gasp really loudly. And you try to be super nice. You're like, no, it's a Pixar film. It's okay. They're not gonna kill the snake. All of a sudden, the pile of bricks just catches on fire. And I'm like,
and then like something else falls on him too, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I think no, he got smashed by something. And you're like,
oh
no,
yeah, and then the bricks.
And then bricks fell on him. And I was just like, oh, and then it suddenly just blew up in fire. And I'm like, Jesus, I get it, he's dead. Damn. And I get what you're meaning, where it was just kind of one of those like, okay, he's dead already. Why are you like beating him with trees now as he goes down? Like, why are you trying to be like, he's dead? Look, he's dead. We like threw him off a cliff. He got impaled by some trees. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's like dead.
He got stabbed by that, like the knife.
And he like sword or whatever. Imploded, and he didn't implode. But he imploded. He caught on fire where there was no fire.
Drowned in the water.
I mean, he should be.
Right. But then it turns out, oh, he's like basically immortal. He's 400 years old.
You just can't leave the river.
Right.
Which is a bummer. I mean, to
No,
be,
imagine having that. But he seems like he loves it. I mean, he gets to take these tours. But I imagine after a while you get tired of it. You get bored. You'd say, "Hey, I want to do something else in life
oh,
at this
that's
point."
why they go and he gets to drive an automobile, as they described it. When did they start calling cars cars? Anyway,
Speaking of that, okay, I just have to say, this movie followed the Fast and Furious rules of things that should not of transportation that should not be doing what it's doing in the movie. The boat went through a building and over it and landed perfectly on the other side with everybody intact.
are
The
you
boat,
upset that the immortal man from the conquistadors was able to fly his boat?
a little bit. It brought me Fast and Furious. Because The Rock is also in Fast and Furious, so I'm like, did he bring these ideas over here? Did he say, "Hey, let's just make my boat fly"?
I feel like at this point he could if he wanted to.
I mean, he's The Rock, and rightfully so. He has that power and that say if he wanted to. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you know what movie this reminded me of? And I'm gonna it's gonna be great because you're never gonna guess it too.
Oh, give me a hint. Give me like a little bit of a hint.
It's about snakes.
Well, my first thought was snakes on a plane, but you said I'm not going to think of it, so I guess it's not that.
It's called Anacondas, the Hunt of the Blood Orchid.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
never have heard
it's from like
any combination of those words together.
It's from 2004. It was a sequel film to Anaconda. You know, Jennifer Lopez.
Right.
Yeah, bunch of actually actors. Anyway, this one it literally follows the same plot, but in like the modern times, there is a plant called the blood orchid that blooms every certain amount of years, and it has all these healing properties. So these people go, you know, on a boat to go get it, and it's the same plot where they're like, I have something to prove. Well, if you don't get the plant by the time it blooms, there's no point. We're gonna cut your funding, and you know you're out of a job. So both are like, oh, I have something to prove, and they go, and then they realize, well, this wasn't actually worth it. I should have left things as they had been, which is a thing. People really shouldn't. And I don't know who grows up with the mentality of that. That like, hey, there's a suspicious looking thing over there. Let's go that way. No, don't do that. No.
No, just a word of advice. People, things from people's homeland, territory, culture, just leave it as it is. Just leave it there.
Right? I don't understand. I don't want to say white people, but white people. I don't understand. You know it's true. They're the ones who started this shit. They invaded India and don't even know how to use spices. I'll say what I say. Point is, I don't understand.
I'll let you finish.
I don't understand why you would think, hey, this is a good idea. Something that seems most likely sacred or a magical plant. You don't think there's anybody guarding it. Because, like, same with anacondas and same with the jungle boat.
Sorry.
Do you
I was
not
trying to exit out of it.
do you not think anybody's protecting these things? That there's a reason you're like the first person to discover it or realize it or make clarification? No, there is good justifiable reason. If people who have studied it and are dead but never got it, then there is a reason why they are dead. Most likely murder.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
If it,
yeah.
But then again, if they said, "Hey, let's not touch that," then we'd have like a 10-minute movie.
Yeah, but everybody would still probably be alive. And he probably would have died in his natural like place too.
Right.
I'm just saying, stop touching things, people.
Don't touch things that are not yours. I also like how Jack Whitehall's character, the brother, McGregor, he was getting more and more like unhinged throughout the movie. He went, he went from just like this buttoned up, oh, trying to get through um, this speech to get into this society. Um, and then he went through all this stuff with um, like the whole movie uh, and like coming into his own, I guess. And then eventually like rejecting the society and being like, no, I don't want to be a part of this.
I mean, society's boring.
Yeah. I heard
I
someone,
Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I heard um someone who was like, anytime a movie or book brings in a secret society, I'm out. Can't do the secret societies anymore. Which it is a pretty common like trope in movies. Secret
Would this
societies.
be considered? This is just a village trying to chill, or are you talking about the
The
Spaniards?
people the with all the white men at the beginning, you
Oh,
know,
them.
yeah. But I don't think they're a secret society. They're a society.
They're hold on, I just saw it. They are the Royal Society Explorers.
Royal Society Explorers.
Which I think just may just go to. Well, now that I think about it, so she wasn't. She was just doing this to be in a club. She wasn't actually doing this for research purposes or like with actual intent of helping people. She wanted to join a club. Well, that's even
Well,
shittier motives. She's even worse.
that makes you dislike her even more.
Yeah, I mean, anacondas. At least they were like trying to help people. They were,
Right.
being horrible, and it's terrible. And they got eaten by a bunch of snakes, so that's fine. Oh, she's even worse.
So they deserved it.
Yeah, they did. Stop it. Stop going on native land. Stop going in jungles. How about that? In general, no matter your race, your gender, or who you are, do not go into the jungle. Because one, snakes in general. There's just snakes. And then giant bugs. Bugs that fly. Bugs that should not fly. That is not okay. But no, this makes her worse because she's just doing this to join a club. She's not with any intention of helping anybody.
Right.
Oh, see, now I don't like her even more.
Also, randomly, I'm looking. I don't know if this is the complete box office from this weekend, but oh, okay, that's just from the first day because it took $200 million to make. That was the movie's budget. And it only made 13.4 million on its first day. But then again, Disney Plus,
Yeah, you
they're
can't because
streaming it.
we watched
Oh,
Disney Plus.
yeah. But then it's paid on Disney Plus as well.
It is.
So I don't know how it's going to do for the rest of the weekend, but
Yeah, it's made about 13 million.
yeah,
That's not doing very good for Disney.
it's not. Um, Also, apparently, plans for a Jungle Cruise movie began in 2004, following the success of Pirates of the Caribbean. And then the project lay dormant until 2011 when Tom Hanks and Tim Allen were set to star.
I love learning how long projects have remained dormant for.
I
Not the way of
know.
like, oh, sorry that everything got put on hold, but like, yeah, The Sandman with Neil Gaiman.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comic book, and I really like it. I love Neil Gaiman ever since Good Omens. It's really good, and I found out there was originally supposed to be a CW show, or I guess when it was Warner Brothers, so it was back in the 90s. They were actually starting to develop it, but Neil Gaiman hated the script. He hated it. He's like, no, this is bullshit. So he said no. And then they kept trying to find new writers or new directors, and then it ended up just being scrapped completely. Other stuff happened, and eventually now in like 2021, they're just starting like filming on it.
Really?
Yeah, and I
For
like
CW?
no, it's not the CW anymore. It's Netflix. Netflix bought it. Of course,
Oh,
Netflix.
okay. Of course, yeah.
It's gonna be Netflix Prime or Hulu. So it was just interesting to see that, like, because I was like, this is a great story. It's a very interesting story, and I recommend everybody just go out and just find it and read it. It's very interesting to see that process of like, it's not just like, hey, I'm pitching you an idea and we're gonna start doing this and this. The way movies and shows can just lay dormant, and then you think about how different those could have been, years ago, because it wouldn't have been The Rock playing this back in 2004. It would have
Right.
probably been, at the time, I don't know who's the big celebrities at that time.
2004.
Yeah.
I guess Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. I guess they wanted to have a live action Toy Story of it all.
Don't do live action Toy Story. Leave them alone. Just leave Toy Story alone. You're gonna piss off so many generations. That's a multi-generational piss off. But I feel like Tom Hanks would have been in it. Maybe not Tim Allen, but definitely Tom Hanks.
Mm.
And I think I would have watched it. I like Tom Hanks. No, that's just really interesting. I didn't know that it was supposed to be in 2004.
Yeah. And also, Jungle Cruise was one of the original Disneyland rides because it opened, Jungle Cruise, the ride opened in 1955, which I did not know.
That's weird. Why did it take so long for them to... Well, I guess the same with Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, because Pirates of the Caribbean is one of the original Disneyland rides as well.
From there to like, I mean, they're still banking off of Cinderella, so
right.
They had
There's like a new Cinderella coming soon. I don't think it's Disney though.
No, it's Amazon Prime, and she's Spanish too.
Yeah, Camila Cabello.
Yeah, which I'm actually a little excited to see.
Yeah, we'll have to review it.
Yeah, usually I'm not big on like princess films. Not because I think they're like stupid or anything. A little bit. I do like the costumes. Because
they're all the same.
A little bit, yeah.
For the most part.
And really, most of the time with Disney princess films, they're just asking for a night off. That's all they want. They want a day where like nobody's bothering them. So that I can relate to. That I get.
Yeah.
I do also like all the costume work in Disney princess films. Those dresses, not historically accurate, but very, very pretty. I always really love them. But anyway.
Anything else? Anything else about Jungle Cruise?
I guess not. My whole thing from Jungle Cruise was that Lily was actually a terrible person in the film. And yeah. I mean, Frank Wolf got his redemption story, but the only really good one here was Jack Whitehall's character, McGrub.
I enjoyed his character.
I think he was the only. I mean, he was not a great human being either, but like he accepted.
He was also trying to get in the right. I enjoyed his arc throughout the whole film. And I thought Jack Whitehall played it very well. And I didn't realize that it was because I have never seen Jack Whitehall in any other thing, I don't think. But I know what he looks like and I've seen him before. I think mainly because of you, Alex. But I've seen him before. And maybe it's because he didn't have the beard that I didn't recognize him on sight.
He's mainly a British actor and comedian.
Right.
He has been on James Corden's show. They're like good friends.
Okay.
And I'm looking at he's going to be in Clifford, the Big Red Dog, because they animated a live action one.
I like how that's your reason, because they animated a live action. That went viral on Twitter when people are like, what is this? This is nightmare fuel. Do we really
Because
need
it
this?
makes Clifford real. Okay.
Yeah, and it
That's
doesn't.
terrifying.
When I was a Clifford, the Big Red Dog stan as a kid. I probably watched every episode as a kid. But the movie, it doesn't have the same joy and spark to it. I haven't seen it yet, but from the looks of it, it looks like it does not have the same spark and joy as the cartoon.
I just
Next, what are we gonna have? Are we gonna have an Arthur live action next?
oh god no.
Are we gonna have an Arthur live action next?
Well, like I was watching the trailer of the Clifford. How would they do that? That would be like the Lion King, where it's like all animated. They try to call it live action, but that is light animated unless you're putting an aardvark in a sweater and glasses. I don't want to see it. Don't call it live
No,
action.
we don't need to see it.
But from what I see with Clifford, the bigger, the when I watched the preview, they're like in the city right now. So most of the movie is them in the city, and I think he's like a single father. Oh no, he's an uncle. He's the uncle.
Wait, who's the uncle?
Jack Whitehall's character. I thought he was a.
Oh,
He's like one of the main characters, but he's a uncle.
does he have an American accent in this?
I don't know. I don't recall. He does this like weird American accent where you could tell. It's that one where you mentioned how you can catch like accents sometimes when they just slip and it
It's
gets
my
you.
my big example is the guy from Umbrella Academy who plays what's his name? Big guy.
Klaus. Oh,
No,
Luther.
Luther, yes. Klaus, the guy who plays Klaus, he has an amazing American accent. I did not know that he was not American until I like looked up the cast afterwards.
He is
Um,
Irish, correct?
yeah, he's an Irish actor.
He's really good. I like him. I've seen him in
Yeah.
a few other stuff. He's a very good actor. Um, yeah, he kind of does that sometimes. Where when I've seen him play like an American, I think like once I can't recall what it was, and the accent just kept like certain words I think were hard to say without an accent. But I mean, all in all, he was my favorite character and actor in that film of Jungle Cruise. So his part was one I enjoyed the most. I really just kind of focused more on the like setting and like the beautifulness of the what they have proclaimed as the jungle. I don't know. Yeah, there's jungles in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's what.
I I'm terrible at like geography and agriculture and all that stuff. Like
Don't ask me where anything is because I. Mm-mm.
I will be that character. I will be the first one to die if I am set out into woods or jungle. No survival skills there. Absolutely none. I can
But
do.
if we're in a post-apocalyptic situation where you're familiar with the setting and we're like home, but it's like zombies are attacking us, then you thrive there.
Yeah, that's fine. Like industrial style going on. That's cool.
Right.
I'll survive. If I can hit something with a baseball bat, we're all good. If I gotta fight something real, no, thank you. That is not possible. So, but I get to, I enjoy it. I enjoy looking at it. And like I said, with the story, it was just the same basic Disney story. But it reminded me too much of Anaconda. So I was kind of laughing at myself, being like, "Oh, I'm comparing a Disney film to a movie about bloodthirsty anacondas." Oh, and they were in mating season during that movie too. So it was a bunch of bloodthirsty, horny anacondas.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I do on my Friday nights.
So I think on that note, I think the moral of the story is we need to do a review on this show about Clifford the Big Red Dog. So
Your moral? Why is that a moral of the story though? Like a moral of the story is supposed to have like a good meaning. That's the moral of the story to do. Like you have terrible morals apparently.
Also, I'm just looking at the plot. Clifford, they have to save him from being captured by a genetics company. That's the plot of the movie. anyway.
Damn, that's dark. What genetics? It was her love. She loved him. Which I think,
And also,
sorry, I
oh,
saw
go
a thing
ahead.
on TikTok where somebody pointed out, they're like, oh, Clifford the dog grew so big because his owner Emily loved him so much. And then it's all these short people being like, oh, my siblings 6'2" and I'm 5'7". What the fuck, mom? And I'm like, oh my god. That's like the terrible plot, but I get it. You love it, it'll grow, but like human genetics.
It's not a good
also.
message for kids that were vertically challenged.
It's a good message for children. Bad message for, adults and teenagers with height issues. You love
And
it, it'll grow.
also, David Allen Greer is the voice of Clifford. Okay, I might just watch it and enjoy it
Clifford
for that.
talks? Why? I don't.
He talks in the show.
Does he? Yeah, he does. Oh wait, okay. I was in a state of panic there for a second. I was like, what are they doing now? They need to. Animals don't need to talk. I feel like they need to stop having animals talk.
There are a lot of talking animal stuff. But do you remember those movies? Do you remember Homeward Bound? I used to love those movies. I used to watch them all the time.
I never watched Homeward Bound.
Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe that can be my movie if I win trivia again. But Homeward Bound.
Which for all our fans, we are doing a live trivia about a game.
Oh yes.
But why? Why? Isn't that supposed to be like a really sad movie?
It gets sad at points. There's two. There's Homeward Bound 1. The second one is not as sad, I don't think. The first one.
How bad are these owners that they keep losing their pets?
It's like the Rugrats.
Yeah, they were bad parents.
Yeah, bad parents, bad pet parents. I think that's like the go-to for movies and stuff. Okay, how can these kids or how can these animals go on an adventure? Bad parents.
I mean, that's like Home Alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because like, how do you not know your child didn't get on a plane with you?
Well, because apparently their cover up was there was like a lot of people in the house.
Right, but the parents were also like in first class while the kids were all back in coach.
Right.
So that's also kind of like a shitty move.
I just remember because in Home Alone, like Kevin gets sent up to his room and he's like, I hate you, or whatever. He says, I hate you to his mom. And she's like, you don't mean that. And that's like the catalyst. It's like, there's already this bad blood, so we don't care if you get left behind.
She barely did. Although honestly, she could have just waited.
That's true.
No, like there were just a lot of plot holes, and like I feel like.
Oh, in Home Alone.
In Home Alone, no, in Jungle Cruise too, in Clifford, I'm sure. There's just plot holes and everything. There'll be plot holes. First off, how do you not notice the dog? Did the dog grow like exponentially or?
Yeah, how fast was the growth?
Yeah, because at a certain point you can see that the dog is very large, and then you're like, oh, he's reaching the countertop. Well, maybe we should get a bigger place, or move out of an apartment. So we're like in a city. With Jungle Cruise, it was like, maybe we should go on what looks like a wrecked boat in the middle of the jungle just to get into a club. Maybe I shouldn't risk my life, my brother's life, to go into the wilderness to possibly find a random flower, take it from a tribe so that I can join a club. I'm just saying.
Just to join a club, not even for any.
You weren't even trying
societal reason.
And then you acted like a snob towards them at the end. Like you were just trying to join that club. Like, no.
It's selfish.
See? Terrible character.
Do we want to give grades?
Sure. I mean, that's
all right.
What we did.
What is your official grade?
I'm going to give this movie a C. No, actually, I'm going to give it a B. Because I did enjoy Jack Whitehall's character, as I said repeatedly, and I did enjoy, Frank Wolf or Dwayne Johnson's character, where he was just, I don't think he was always supposed to be the comedy relief, but he was a good chunk of the comedy relief in this film, even though it was all comedy.
Yeah.
And again, just the scenery just blew my mind. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. You know, we were just talking earlier about, you know, the difference between California and Oregon and seeing, you know, the stars and all that green. And, you know, from California to Oregon and Washington, that greenery is different. In the greenery to like Hawaii and tropical areas, that is such a different, vibrant green too. And there was, where did you go when you traveled to Europe? There was a beautiful photo of you standing in front of like the bluest sky, the greenest areas. And it was just like you looked photoshopped because it was just this whole nother level of color texture behind you.
Oh yeah, that was when I was on the like the cliff area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Portugal.
Portugal. That's beautiful too.
Yeah.
So seeing that in general was just gorgeous. I was, you know, really amazed that I didn't know that the ride came before, you know, the show. I thought maybe there was like a cartoon because I know Disney has a lot of cartoons I'm not aware of. You and Jerome let me know about them. I did have some issues with like, you know, historical stuff and, you know, things like that. But other than that, it was actually just a fun little film to watch. And it was just one of those Disney films that it didn't, it was kind of nice that it wasn't attached to anything else. Like Cruella with the Dalmatians and Wonder One. It stood really well alone. I love that film. I love it. Um, but like all with all these like, oh, it's a prequel, it's a sequel, it's this and that. It was nice to see a movie that was just its own self. It wasn't a
Right.
spinoff, it wasn't part of something else. This was just Jungle Cruise and it's self alone, which I enjoy. So
Yeah.
I would say this movie's a B. You know, I recommend it. It's a fun watch. I was entertained. Still don't like Lily. Terrible human. But I did just enjoy the film as a film. And, you know, again, just I would just watch it to pretend I'm in the jungle, you know, safely. Because
Right.
I'm never going in one. Nope.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna stay away from jungles in the near future as well.
You don't think you could hack it out there?
Maybe if given enough prep time, but if you drop me in the jungle right now, it's a no from me.
How much prep time do you think you would need to survive in the jungle?
Maybe a 3-month crash course. If it's 3 months long, is it really a crash course?
No, like I don't think that crash course is like maybe like a couple days if that's extended pretty hard. But like 3 months, I think you're just
It's a course,
that's a whole semester.
right?
So you want a semester.
I'd want a semester of. I mean, I've watched Bear Grylls, and I love Bear Grylls, and he does like all that jungle stuff. Bear Grylls, you know Bear Grylls?
I don't know Bear Grylls.
Yeah.
Bear grilling. Is that what is being said to me? Bear Grylls?
Yeah, well, I think it's Grills is spelled differently, but it's Bear, yeah. And then I think it's GRYLSS. But yeah, he hosts a survival show on Discovery called Man vs. Wild, where he just, do you know him?
No, but I have a reality show I want to talk to you about. Give your rating.
Okay.
I want to get. Go ahead.
But anyway, yeah, I need that 3-month course. I'm gonna give this a B minus because while I also thought it was fun and it was really enjoyable, and the cast, I mean, there was a lot of heavy hitters in this film. But the B minus is because it's mainly because of the plot. I wasn't too invested in from like jump when they gave us like all that backstory at the beginning, I was like, ooh, I'm not too invested in this right now. How is this going to play out for the rest of the film? But thankfully, I think the fun and adventure aspects made up for it. Um, yeah, so that's my rating. And also just the nostalgia of all of the references to the Jungle Cruise ride was awesome as well.
Is there a Jungle Cruise ride in Disneyland or Disney World? Both.
It started in Disneyland, so it's in Disneyland. It might be in Disney World as well, but it's definitely in Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna play Jerome real quick. I feel like Jerome would give this movie a C.
Yeah, I think that would be an appropriate rating. Let us know, Jerome. Edit in your rating, your rating if you want to.
Just a quick little snippet. Yeah, I feel like he would give this a C. Say the opener was not needed, as they did do some flashbacks and story time in the middle of the story.
It's true.
Yeah, and bad camera use. I don't gonna say that. He always has some comment about the camera usage. I wasn't paying hard enough attention, so.
And I can't. Apparently, some of the critics are knocking the CGI in this movie and that it was overused.
Okay, so CGI.
I feel like Jerome might say that.
The Jaguar did not look realistic. It looked like a house cat. The CGI made it look like a bit long house cat. So.
Well, in the movie, didn't they say, "Is this your cat? This is your cat"? Didn't they say that in the movie? I could have sworn somebody said that.
It might have been. They might have been. I mean, that sounds like a comedy line they would have.
Right. And I didn't expect there would be so much comedic. There would be so many comedic elements in this movie, but
I laughed a couple times. Would have a problem with the river. I don't know why, but I feel like Jerome would have a problem with the river itself. The river and how it wasn't like there was no constant like rivers flow, or maybe it's me. It might be me. I have like the rivers flow in a certain way, and there are parts that get choppy. Mm-hmm. Last year, Lauren actually took me to a river for the first time ever. I never swam in one. It was weird because there was this spots that just pull you. We stayed pretty close to the shore because I can't swim. There were like spots where I could feel myself going with the river, and then I saw people, here and there. We would just fall into the river, and suddenly it's like rushing water. And I get like that's how rivers work. There's like some parts, but it's just like it's amazing how suddenly
you're at abrupt.
Yeah, I felt it was like too abrupt, but I may be wrong. Again, very bad at like nature in general, anything that can be connected with nature. In all fairness, grew up in the city and the suburbs. So that's my excuse for everything. But I'm going to say Jerome has a problem with the river, the CGI, and some camera work. And that's why his grade
some element of that.
There's something they didn't frame a scene right.
There you go. And on that note, Alex, where can people find you at?
I am on Instagram at Alex and Nobody, and I also handle the TikTok account, the First Ones to Die, where you can see little tidbits of the shows, and also just me yelling randomly about movies people recommend to me, and I need to stop that line. What about you, Jonathan? Where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me at Jonathan Keys, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. And you can follow us at the First Ones to Die, like Alex mentioned, on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Oh, I have to mention our Twitter. Remember that Twitter post I showed last week of the comparison between the guy and SpongeBob? The official Sexy Beast Twitter account, they retweeted it.
Hey, highlights of our week. The panda from Sexy Beast duetted me on TikTok, and the Sexy Beast official account retweeted us.
And it was kind of throwing shade at the show because the tweet said
he looks like a Mongol. Right. He looks like a Mongol. They did him dirty. I agree. Maybe they know they did him dirty. Maybe they wanted to do him dirty.
Hey, maybe he was like a jerk backstage, so they were like,
probably were.
Yeah, that's true.
I said it then and I'll say it now. They all need their looks. They do. Some people do.
Yeah.
Right?
Anyway, if you want to check out our Sexy Beasts review, then that's up now. You can listen or watch that now.
I love how you put that at the end of a Disney movie review.
Hey, we talked about Clifford, the live action movie. There are more terrifying things out there. With that being said, this has been our review, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.